Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sharp Smart Podcast, where I interview founders, innovators, and business professionals with one goal: to inspire and prepare the next generation of entrepreneurs and leaders. I'm Rex Zhang, your host, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Hello, everyone. Today, I'm with a very special guest, Khandaker Wasi. He's done so many cool things. He's a member of the prestigious Forbes 30 Under 30 list as a founder of 504 Found. He's a growth lead at StudyStream, the recent co-founder of Kuv. He's a student at Cornell, and so much more. Khandaker, it's so great to have you on the podcast today.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So to start it off, could you just give a kind of brief introduction of yourself for the viewers out there that don't know you?
Yeah. So as I said, I'm Wasi, and I really started my journey back in 2021. I used to live in this specific county in Maryland where students with federal 504 plans were like very disadvantaged because there weren't enough like resources, there weren't enough teachers, and this teacher to student ratio was very low, especially like the counselor to student ratio. So what we did is create a program for students with federal 504 plans and accommodations to be connected with peer students across different schools. And we launched on different online platforms like Discord. We had online Zoom sessions and some like in person feedback sessions for students.
Mm.
And by partnering up with various different counties in Maryland, we expanded this organization very fast. A lot of the school counselors really reached out to us and they said, thank you for doing what you guys are doing. It was a huge problem that didn't exactly have a solid solution because most students, when they started different organizations or community-based platforms, they focused on, tutoring, but like very generalized, tutoring, just like, any student NHS type of, you know,
Yeah.
honor society based tutoring. But
Mhm.
what we did is we really took a different approach by focusing more on schedule creations and creating one-on-one schedules and personalized plans for students instead of just doing
Mhm.
pure academic tutoring. That's how we kind of differentiated ourselves. The usage of various different social media platforms, to the extent that we used it, also definitely helped us get our name out there to different states, to different students. And the usage of different things like student ambassador programs were very crucial. Right now, I think many people are creating their own, personal initiatives, whether it be startups or nonprofits or whatever organizations they're trying to create. And the big problem that students run into is that they can't expand as fast,
Right.
right? They
Mhm.
they can, get a couple students in on it. They can maybe get their entire school in on it, but when it comes to, expanding beyond that, it's hard. There's a lot of friction involved. A
Mhm.
lot of students in different states are not going to be as well connected to you. They're not going to be, they're not going to know the operations as well. And on top of that, there's just a distance. There's just a big
Right.
distance, and it's going to create a lot of necessary friction. And
Yeah.
the way we kind of combated this is to create, different ambassador programs for students to really take initiative in their own community as their own little kind of leader in their own community instead of just serving as like some sort of like liaison or some
Right.
serving as like another volunteer
Mhm.
or another wheel in a cog or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's like one way we really did great on, expanding is through like the
Right.
creation of different ambassador programs and different outreach programs.
So you use mainly social media to try to get the word out for you guys?
Yeah. So it was a combination of various different social media platforms, Instagram, LinkedIn reach outs is a great one. A lot of ambitious teens are on LinkedIn. So if you go on LinkedIn and just like start, cold DMing people, hey, are you interested in this opportunity? A lot of them will actually say yes because
Right.
they're on that platform for new opportunities. They're there to grow their, personal portfolio. They're there to grow their resume. So I do think different platforms have their different, have different niches that they're good at.
Yeah.
For example, one thing I will say, Instagram is great for getting like content creator type of people in there.
Mhm.
We met various different content creators within our own county and within our own state that had like 10, 20, 30,000 followers on TikTok, IG, etc. And we wouldn't
Yeah.
have found those on LinkedIn because they're much more prevalent on Instagram.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Because I think a lot of people, like a lot of students, especially because you created this in high school, correct?
Yes, correct.
Cool. Yeah, I know like a lot of high school students, like they kind of just create this some nonprofit or organization, but like really what happens is that they kind of lose motivation. It just goes to like dust, and I think having these like programs where when you're expanding, you don't have to like take the load of all that work of expanding and getting all these things, and actually using programs like these ambassador programs to get other people to do the expanding for you in a sense. I think that's a very good approach to go about it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like honestly, the best piece of advice I can kind of give to anyone that is trying to get into, organizations or startups or anything like that in high school, because I know so many students are currently trying to do that, is just to make sure that you are in a space where it's a little bit niche, right? It's not oversaturated,
Yeah.
but you're also like very interested in that niche. Just pick problems that just genuinely haven't been solved yet. And
Right.
I think just picking that and like going far with it will take you like so
Mhm.
far.
Yeah, I think these are like great ideas for sure. For you, I know like from high school till now, what are some ways that you went about the like the ideation process or kind of the improving process? Was it just talking to like the team members that you had, or maybe taking like a walk, maybe in nature in solitude to get these ideas out there?
Yeah. So originally in when I was in Carroll County Public Schools, I just saw this desperate need for, students with accommodations. I'll be in classes, right? I'll be in classes, I'll be taking tests and stuff, right? And I would see, students with accommodations, they would all get the same accommodations, right? They might have different like special needs, not special needs, but they might have like different learning disadvantages, right? Some kid might have ADHD, another kid might have OCD, but they would all just have like this one, extended time for tests type of thing. And I never saw that as like the solution. I never saw that as the solution because it was it was trying to give a one size fits all solution to a problem that literally cannot have a one size fits all solution, a problem that needs to have tailored solutions. It's just by seeing that and talking to a couple, resource counselors from my school that I realized that, hey, this is a problem that desperately really needs to be fixed. And originally that I didn't even try to specifically fix that problem. I
Mhm.
just kind of got a couple friends in. I was like,
It was
yeah,
kind of natural, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I just got a couple friends with me, and we filed for like this service learning thing
Mhm.
license or whatever, and we just took it as like a way for students to earn service hours by tutoring other students with like ADHD with 5 or 4
Mhm.
plans. We really try to differentiate ourselves from the start because we realized that there were already so many of these other organizations. We don't want to take their students away, and we don't want to just like kind of compete with them when it's just not necessary to do so.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and the thing that probably a lot of these organizations probably didn't have actual the thought, because I think a lot of high school they just make the organization just for the soul of having that name on there instead of
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
trying to make that impact in the community, which I see you guys definitely have for sure. And this actually brought you to the Forbes like 30 under 30, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I think one of the biggest pieces of advice that I would say for getting like national recognition for whatever organization you're doing or what you're a part of is again just that like that differentiation factor that I'm like we're doing something that hasn't been done before. We're doing
Yeah.
something that we're looking at a product. We're looking at a community driven initiative in a lens that other organizations aren't looking through. You know what I mean? So yeah, that
Mhm.
differentiation factor is a huge was a huge thing for
Right.
getting on Forbes. I see tons of different like organizations that's try to get on the Forbes list every year. But one thing I see time and time again, it's the organizations that are really making like impact in
Yeah.
areas that are not being helped enough that get on the list.
Right.
You
And
can
those
make
are the
yeah.
ones that actually they're not like their main goal isn't to get on the list, but actually to help the people.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. It's the biggest thing is to actually make something that people need. Like it's
Mhm.
literally kind of similar to like the Y Combinator's motto. If you know, is make something people want. Right? You need to make something that people need to do good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know I see your LinkedIn posts all the time. You like kind of advocate for UGC and growth. Do you think that's something that students or young people should be immersing themselves in, or
Yeah, for sure. Right now, UDC is like easier than ever. There's so many different platforms I've seen in the last couple months that have been, making it super easy for students to get into UGC. So, a little bit of context before like this year, to get into UGC, you would have to, post consistently, try to build up a big following on either Instagram or TikTok, LinkedIn, and then try to get like brand deals, sponsorships, those types of things to really make money on the side. And
right.
now it's easier than ever because people like Ben Aratame, I don't know if you know who that is, but like I think this person was like an ex Cluely media person. People like him, and there's also another a guy who's the founder of a platform called, I think it was called like SideQuest or something like that, right? But the two platforms I'll be talking about, it's not like a paid promotion or anything
No,
like that,
yeah.
just like examples, straight
Mhm.
examples. Is like yeah, like SideQuest and methods.app or whatever. And they literally make it so easy for you to like create videos for them and like get money back from it like per view. So, and again, I'm not like
Yeah,
sponsored by
yeah.
any of these
Mhm.
companies. I'm just literally saying that
It's just easier, a
it's
lot easier,
so
yeah.
much easier. It's so much easier to make money on the side right now as a student. And so many students need to make that money right now. College is becoming more and more expensive every year, right? The tuitions are rising. And I think it's super important for students to not just kind of like make money on the side, but also do a lot of different things to figure out what they really want. A lot of students
Right.
are going into college as, pre-med or econ or, finance, CS, but they don't really know down the line the amount of things they could do if they just really try like side questing, really try just like doing a lot of different things and seeing like
Yeah,
what they
exploring as
really
much as
like,
they can.
exploring as much as possible. And that's the
Mhm.
most important part of college is to really figure out different ways to, kind of explore your interests.
Right. So yeah, for you, is that what college is all about? I know a lot of people kind of go into college for different reasons. I think people in the past say it's all about the network. Some people say like they're just trying to get the knowledge. Like, what is your take on like the actual purpose or importance of college itself?
Yeah, I think college, I think the way I look at college is it's a place for me to go and A, of course, network, meet a lot of amazing, driven people, and B, use that network to kind of like grow myself, right? Kind of grow myself, do a lot of different things, a lot of different things that are bound to fail, right? And kind of take something out of that, right? Just fail a ton, learn a ton, and at the end of the day, use that, community driven ambition to kind of better
Right.
myself.
Right. Yeah. I think I saw that you also you were doing something like at Cornell, like Cornell Commons. Is that
Yeah.
something that
Yeah.
you're talking about as well?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great example. So
Mhm.
Cornell Commons is we were kind of inspired by the Harvard Street Commons, which was one of the first like I think college level like specific college based hackathon that Harvard did. And we partnered with some of the guys that created Harvard Street Commons, and we made Cornell Commons. So we basically leased out this entire house that
Mhm.
is kind of off campus, and we're creating this hacker house program. We've already gotten hundreds of applications for Cornell Commons, and we are starting next year, next
That's
fall.
no, that's awesome. I think having that kind of community, I mean, you see all these accelerator programs. You kind of have this whole community that you can, everyone can better themselves in their own journey for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I think these different like opportunities for like networking and like personal growth are so important to
Mhm.
host throughout
Mhm.
throughout like me personally to host in my college
Mhm.
atmosphere, because there's so many students out there that are super driven, super ambitious, but they just like literally don't know where to start. They don't know
Right.
where to start because it's really hard getting started. I think getting
Yeah.
started is the hardest
The
part.
hard part. Yeah.
Finding out what direction you want to go and figuring out like all the steps, like putting that jigsaw puzzle together. That's the hardest part about, starting and making your, plan. And, if we can make that easier for students by hosting, ambitious and driven like locations for students in interested in CS, econ, whatever, and I consider that a win.
Speaking of like your life at Cornell, I know it's a very competitive Ivy League school, and probably the academics are pretty rigorous as well. For you, how do you manage your life with your college, school, studying life compared to your like exploration life? Like for example, I think a lot of people say it's better to get like a 3.0 GPA instead of a 4.0, so you can use that extra time that you would have been studying to actually explore what you want. Is that kind of the same path that you're taking right now?
Yeah, I do think it's similar to what I'm taking right now. But I will also say that in college, of course, it depends based on college to college. Depends on the classes you're taking, your major, all of those things. But if you can really find out like how to divvy up your time properly, because you'll have a lot more time than you will have in high school. Sometimes in college, it will almost feel like you're like slacking off, or you're like it's not as hard as high school was, but that's really because you have so much more time and you're actually working a lot more than you were in high school. You just don't realize it because you have a lot more time for, leisure, hanging out with friends, all those other things, right? So you don't feel trapped, you don't feel too anxious, you don't feel too stressed. Of course, there's exceptions like finals week where you're going to be pretty anxious, pretty stressed, which is completely normal. But yeah, you will have more time in college than ever. You'll have more time in college than you can probably imagine. Some days you will literally come back from completing classes by like maybe noon, maybe like 1 p.m. Some days you'll come back even sooner based on, if your classes are canceled,
Yeah.
other things,
I think people
right?
just should just put themselves out there. Like,
Yeah, for sure. I think my kind of philosophy is that college is like the one time where you have to explore all of your interests, and no one's gonna like ding you for that, right? There's no other time where you can go out and try to be an entrepreneur, go out and try to start something, except for college. Like,
yeah,
if I'm trying to do the things that I'm doing right now when I'm like 28, 29, like I feel like one of my friends said something similar. There's a difference between, you know, taking educated risks, taking, precise kind of strategic risks and stupidity. And that line becomes clearer, like it becomes clearer and clearer as you grow older, right?
and you have no
But
backup plan then as well. Like right now,
yeah,
like whatever happens, you're taking these risks. The worst thing you can do is end up back in college. If you're taking like a leave or something, you're still back in the same spot you started, even if you failed. And I wouldn't even say you wasted that time because you have that extra experience of what you did wrong and you can do better.
exactly, 100%, right? And in college, you literally have 4 years to fall back on whatever degree you're chasing and really kind of reevaluate. Once you leave that atmosphere, unless you're going for grad school or unless you're going for med school, which is like that whole different thing, honestly. And even then, for those examples, like you won't have the amount of kind of fallback grace that you will have in your 4 years of undergrad because this place is really meant to accelerate you forward, meant for you to go out there, meet a ton of new people, and have your ideas be changed and continuously learn, pivot, and do different things. Yeah.
Yeah. So for you right now, I know before you were working on 504 Found. Now I know you definitely have like a couple or a few more projects that you're working on. I saw was it Cuve or the other like growth related things that you're doing. Could you kind of just talk to us a little bit more about how those things are going for you right now?
Yeah. So Kuv, we just recently made our like promo kind of launch video. So what Kuv does is it's like a voice assistant for Google Meets and Zoom meetings. And we are using a technology by like we're doing like this partnership, or we're on process to doing this partnership with like PowerNote AI, which does voice diarization, which is a really cool technology. And what it does is it basically separates different speakers in a call and actively uses that information to help each person in a call. So this technology is like very B2B. It can definitely, replace like first year analysts for, various different firms. And it's going pretty good right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Very interesting. It's like I saw the intro video. It's like a kind of it just gives you advice on whatever question, kind of like
Yeah, yeah.
little
So
assistant.
yeah, right now with like different AI models, what will happen is they won't know the difference between different speakers. They will just process all of the noise as just text and they'll respond to it, right? With voice diarization, we're really changing that for the first time with Kuv, within Google Meets, within Zoom meetings. So think that you're in a giant Zoom meeting, right? You're with your, HR team or whatever team you're a part of, and there's a problem or some specific thing that you guys don't know how to solve, right?
Yeah.
And you need instant advice to just keep the conversation flowing smoothly. You can say, "Hey, Kuv, can we get advice on XXXO? Can we get more details on this, that?" And it will kind of be like an on-demand assistant that will help you immediately to it's not to make a new conversation altogether, but keep the conversation flowing without, different disruptions.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely interested on the tech portion of that. I know that now there's a lot of like vibe coding, or it's the coding is a lot less technical. You don't have to be as technical as you had to be like
Yeah.
a couple or like a decade ago. Like what platforms do you think will help you for this specific project that you're doing now, or what do you think are some of the best platforms out there that people should definitely be immersing themselves into?
Yeah, so one platform that I can't, praise enough is 11 Labs for sure. I think that they're like currently the pioneer for different voice agents, and I see so many different, entrepreneurs use things like 11 Labs to, scale their AI technologies to scale their like AI business to business technologies. Many of them are trying to, do like voice agents for small businesses, voice agents for, like for some mom and pop shops in their towns. And a lot of them are using 11 Labs to kind of
Mhm.
get that tech stack and scale.
That's interesting. Yeah, for you yourself, do you see yourself kind of keep on doing these like startup projects well into the future, or are you trying to kind of work for another company maybe now and then until you graduate college?
Yeah, so for me personally, I want to see how far I can get in different startups. That's why I've been doing so many on the past, right? It's because you could shoot like a lot of darts, right? A lot of them will miss, but like you just need one that actually hits, right?
Yes.
And the best way to
Throw
do that is
whatever you
just
can at the wall. Yeah.
yeah, shoot as many shots as you can. Like I said, college is the place to shoot shots. And yeah, I'm just trying to see what lands. And on the side, I'm trying to get into venture capital, like maybe like A16Z, Sequoia, that type of stuff. I'm also like really interested in VC. So, but one of the big things about VC is that you need to be like a successful like startup founder. You need to be good in the operator stages of a startup. You need to be a good operator in whatever organization or startup that you've
Mhm.
started, right? So I'm trying to get that experience in right now and just, fail a ton and learn a lot.
Yeah, I know you've probably racked up a lot of like knowledge and like skills throughout your journey. What do you think has been the most important like maybe skill or experience that you've had that you think is the most valuable to yourself right now?
Yeah. So honestly, I recommend that everyone just starts vibe coding. Like you don't have to be super technical. You don't have to like know any like tech stacks. Just start vibe coding and get the basics down. And from there, learn backend, learn everything else, right? I don't think it's too late to learn like CS or I don't think it's too late to learn coding like that, right? You are in the we are in the digital age right now. We're in that AI bubble. If you can just learn a ton about, AI, learn a ton about like CS and just like start vibe coding, just start your journey. You can get a lot out of it. And the second thing I will also say is this one's not as like concrete, but just don't stop going and just keep shooting shots
Mhm.
as much as you can. Because I guarantee like a lot, like pretty much everybody, right? When you keep going, you're gonna fail a ton. You're gonna fail a ton, but eventually you will win. So it's just a matter of time until you get your big break. Just keep going no matter what.
Yeah, what keeps you motivating? Because I know you definitely there's as someone who's like interested in startups, there's a lot of failures and setbacks that you have had or will have. What kind of one motivation do you have that kind of keeps you going in those rough times?
Yeah. So one motivation I would say I have is the fact that I know a ton of founders that were literally in my shoes that failed
Mhm.
a ton before they got their big break, right? And I've literally been in that shoe as well. Like I failed a ton before I got into the Forbes U30. I failed a ton before my nonprofit back in high school was successful, right? Failure is literally a part of the journey. And I know everyone says this, but it's just true. If you just keep going long enough, you're gonna win. And that motivates me that, success doesn't always have to be like a linear thing. Most often what's gonna happen is you're just gonna make like leaps. You're gonna be like here, and then you're gonna make a leap. And you're gonna be here for a while, and then you're gonna make a leap,
Yeah.
right? It's like a literally gonna be like a ladder instead of like a straight line. And
Y-
it doesn't even have to be like that either. Sometimes it's different for everybody, right? But just know like as long as you're, improving yourself every day, as long as you're like working hard, you are gonna be better than where you were yesterday or where you were a year ago. Like you don't have to be the best in the world,
mhm.
right? Because I know a lot of people when they get into the startup scene, they immediately start comparing themselves to like the goats. Like they want to be like the next Mark Zuckerberg. You don't have to be the next Mark Zuckerberg. You just got to be a better
One
version of
percent
yourself
better.
and keep iterating and just keep moving forward.
Right. Was there like a specific moment in your life where you started kind of thinking that way with improving, and before you were kind of more like unmotivated to do like these big projects and stuff like that?
Yeah, I would say so. I think my biggest motivators that led me to that ideology is just like in high school, I just like failed a ton. Like I
Mhm.
not in like the academic sense, but I
Mhm.
just didn't a lot of the things that I did didn't hit. They just straight up failed. But I just kept on going and doing different things and some things hit.
Big
And that's
stick.
when I kind of realized that like shoot, it's not some thing. You're just gonna swing the bat a lot and you're gonna miss the ball but
Right.
you don't. you don't always have to hit the ball. You just have to hit the ball once, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's considered success.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
think yeah, no, go ahead.
so it's just keep going no matter what and keep swinging that bat because you're eventually bound to hit.
Right. Yeah, I know. I think for me, a big thing is that I don't like wasting time, but I'm trying to fix that mentality where, like,
Mhm.
even though what I'm doing might fail, like, that's not considered like a waste of time. It's still like a learning journey throughout that process.
Yeah. I think there's something really useful that you can implement. Have like a two-step, like differentiate two things, right? One, differentiate your like startup life, your tech like entrepreneurship journey, and then two, have like an actual like academic style journey. I'm not gonna say like because here's the thing, right? I could be all motivational and stuff and be like, yeah, everyone should do startups, but like here's the thing, 99% of startups, like 90 more than 90% they're gonna fail.
Yeah.
You need a good backup plan. Have that backup plan set, whether it be if you want to be a doctor, if you want to get into VC or whatever,
Mhm.
whatever standard typical operator role, and then
Yeah.
have your startup stuff as well, right?
Yeah, like for students, you shouldn't like take away all that academics, like just start failing classes just for this
Yeah,
one
no,
class.
for sure. Like I know so many people that are there's like so hyped to just like, yeah, bro, I'm gonna drop out. I'm gonna drop out before sophomore year, dude. I'm like, dude, you don't have to lock yourself in that position, right? Maybe take like a leave of absence if you're getting into YC, if you wanna,
Mhm.
go for that, 1 month or whatever for the Z fellows or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Take that leave. Don't shut the door. You don't need to shut the door.
Right. Yeah, and you shouldn't have that mindset at the beginning. You should only kinda do it when it's only necessary.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
just like I just that's something that people that are successful with their startups do is just drop out, which is just not
Yeah. The best idea is to definitely be like pragmatic about startups. Understand that most of the shots that you're gonna take, they're gonna fail, and there's no reason to, burn bridges before you even cross them.
cool. Yeah. Now moving back to before we were talking about the Forbes 30 under 30. I'm not too familiar with all the maybe programs and resources that they have. How's that experience for you? Did you go to like a award ceremony or did you have like a lot of connections
Yeah.
that came from that?
So after I got on it, I was immediately invited to a kind of like a mini summit in NYC, which I attended. And there's also a larger summit in Ohio that takes place every year, which you can go to. I think it's like free or $100 if you're a Forbes U30 member, and it's like I think it's 300 per person if you're not a U30 member. Anyone can go to this summit, essentially, but it's a great networking opportunity, and you can meet a lot of really cool people.
Right.
And another thing that you get on top of that is you get access to this like private Forbes U30 community via the Forbes website, and this gives you access to like around I think there's around like 2,000 current alum that are in the registry, and you can literally like DM them, contact them. It's a super great resource. So that's one of the biggest perks I would say for being on the Forbes U30 community. You have a literal platform built towards you to network and communicate and coordinate events.
Yeah.
And I see that all the time. I'll like get emails that the Forbes U30 GC is making plans for going to NYC or doing this meetup in San Francisco
Yeah, it's like a
and whatnot.
lifelong
It's a
network.
lifelong, yeah, it's a lifelong connection. It's super helpful.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah, I don't wanna take too much of your time, so I have
No worries, yeah.
one last question for you. So just to close things out, what's one last piece of advice that you have to viewers out there? They could be in all stages of life. Maybe a lot of them are students, maybe a lot of them are struggling with what direction they wanna take in their career. What would you say to those people that are trying to figure everything out?
I would say the one piece of advice I would say is to try out everything that you can try out, right?
Mm,
Really take the chance to try different things before you're, set and if you before you solidify your goals, right? Back in high school, literally me and my friends, we tried hopping on SoundCloud, we tried trading, we tried crypto, we literally tried everything, bro,
mhm,
from drop shipping to like to literally everything. And it wasn't until like senior year when we really found out that we wanted to do startups.
mhm.
And I'm still working with one of my close friends from high school
That's awesome.
on Couv. So take the chance and try out as many things as you can. If you think that if something interests you, it doesn't matter what it is. It can literally be streaming. It can be anything. Try that out, fail at it, or even maybe succeed at it, and keep going. Right, keep iterating. I think
Yeah.
failures is one of the best thing that can happen out of trying different things out because you're literally like if life's like a multiple choice test, you're literally like crossing out like some of the
Yeah,
choices before you
exactly.
get down to the final answer.
Yeah, those are like either way, if you succeed or fail, those are still experiences and those are still stories that you can tell
One
to other
hundred
people
percent,
one day for sure,
one
right?
hundred percent.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think life's too short to just not try out as much as you can because I mean you have all these as you said doing the multiple choice like crossing
Yeah,
everything out for sure to see what fits you for sure.
exactly. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, so Awasi, that was all the questions I had for you today. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you so much for hosting. It was lovely to chat with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for watching the episode, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the episode, please consider subscribing or following. And as always, we're having conversations that build the next generation. Peace out.